Okay, so I was looking up stuff on entropy, and and regeneration. Those are things that have always really interested me, and the reason why is because I see both sides of the. I mean, there's two sides to everything. There's probably a lot of sides, but it's like, okay, you've got death, but you've also got birth. All right, you've got you've got entropy, and what entropy is in thermo. All right, I'll just read it off. In thermodynamics, entropy, usually the symbol is S, is a measure of the number of specific ways in which a thermodynamic system may be arranged, commonly understood as a measure of disorder. Now, what I picture when I think of entropy is like what my mom went through when she was passing away, when she was inside the hospice. She had multi-organ failure, right? Well, okay, multi-organ failure, multi-organ disorder, that's entropy. However, just like the phoenix bird, just like the rising phoenix bird, everything kind of crumbles down, and then there's the ashes, right? But with the breath of a new order, we only see one side. We only see the one side of entropy. And we say, oh, they died. Now we can't be with them again. Okay, sure. But what about the other side? Sure, they're disordering, but they're also reordering. And it might be a certain... It's reordering in a certain configuration that like maybe your eyes and your mind haven't quite adjusted to yet. That's the way I'm looking at it, because my mom talked about Schrodinger's cat and about, you never, you just don't know for sure until you really see it yourself. And even though you see death, even though you see the death of that particular configuration, what about the other configuration? I mean, we can see that in quantum physics, things are popping in and out of existence all the time. So, I mean, maybe that's what's happening with human bodies. They pop in and out of existence all the time, and maybe something's at a certain frequency, or maybe the configuration doesn't make sense to our brains in the moment because we're feeling sorrowful. We're at a it's like, I think that emotions and frequency are very, very important, okay? It's like, when I went to my medium in Sedona, my medium had channeled one of my mom's friends, who was also a very dear friend to me too. Her name is Kathy Wright. And she told my medium to tell me, do not get, I don't remember exactly, but it was like, do not get trapped in sorrow. Don't get trapped up in sorrow. And that was 2 months before my mom passed away. What's interesting about that statement is that when my mom passed away while I was overseas my second time, I was like, you know what, forget that. Forget that. Like, I am going to find this woman. I'm going to find this woman. I'm going to do whatever it takes. And I don't give a crap what dimension she's in. I'll figure it out. Because I've always been a pretty, like, spiritual person. We've both been kind of like into the cosmos. Like, that's what we enjoy a lot. And, so I got like this book, right? I got this book from one of them old stores. It was like something out of like a movie tale, like The Never-Ending Story or something. And I see this book, and it's talking about, it says astral projection on it, which is like an out-of-body experience. And I saw it, and I'm like, why not? Let's just give it a shot. I just need something to push me in the right direction as to how to do it. Because I have astral projected before, but I just didn't understand the mechanics behind it. It would just happen randomly. So I pick up the book. I only get like maybe the first chapter in. And it's telling me to like, imagine what my chakra colors look like. And you do this for like, it takes like 15 minutes, whatever, a night. You just lay down or you stand up. Doesn't matter what you do. I thought it was easier to do it like right before I went to bed. And it's like, do this the same time every single night. And imagine the same things, and you'll notice that your imagination of what these colors and specific places look like will actually get like more concentrated, stronger, more vibrant. And it was absolutely right. Every time I did it, like I try to do it the same time every single night, and I would imagine the same systems that I was already imagining, but it would be like I could imagine it for a longer period of time. The colors would become more vibrant, almost like, more vibrant than the world I could even witness. And it was like really kind of amazing. My dreams got better. Next thing you know, it only took like, I think 3 to 4 months, and I was literally astral projecting. And I didn't choose to do it. It was like when you get yourself into a schedule and you do this night at this time, this night at this time, and you do it for, say, 2 months, well, now if you were to forget, your system already knows. Your system already knows it's muscle memory. Just like the military, it teaches you muscle memory, and like music, and you know, as a kid, when you do like times tables, you do it over and over and over, and it's muscle memory. Now you know. Now you know forever. It's probably why cellular memory is so powerful. It's like we're constantly doing the same cycle over and over and over again, so of course we know all this stuff. I lost my train of thought. Yes, okay, so astral projection, right. So the first time I astral projected, it was like an initiation. Yeah, it was like an initiation. It was like I literally was initiated into the world of astral projection. Like, it was like a tribal thing with like chalk, like a white powder substance, and I was like walking through a jungle. It was pretty righteous. And then the second time was like, it was a little confused. Well, it was like I was inside of a palace, like this marble palace, and I was in the sky, and I was just floating in the clouds. And I was in a hot tub, and I remember there being a girl in the hot tub, and then and whenever I'm astral projected, I always stop and I look at my hands, and I'm like, oh, I'm astral projected. I can do whatever I want. For some reason, I would always look at my hands, like even when I astral projected and I had no real control over it, I just did. I would always look at my hands, and I just knew that I was astral projected. It was the only time I ever looked at my hands in my dreams, was when I was astral projected, in my astral body. And so I remember doing that while I'm in the hot tub, and I'm like, oh, well, I would like to know something about my soul's higher purpose. It's like you become so consciously aware. And then I remember like somebody was there, and it was like they picked me up like by the scruff of my shirt or something, and like brought me somewhere. It was like like Speed Racer, you know what I'm saying, where it's like, haha, where like it looks like they're moving really fast even though they're not moving at all, like Einstein's theory of, you know, the train and you. Okay, so yeah, it's like I'm flying, and then I was like, something would distract me, right? Something would distract me in the astral projection experience, and it was almost like the person would be like kind of leave me there for a minute, and I'd be like, wow. And it was like in that moment I realized how important it is to like keep your eye on the ball, but distractions are also there because maybe you're going a little too far for your own britches or something. I mean, I don't know for sure. But and then the third time I astral projected, now that was really interesting. Third time I astral projected. I mean, all of this happened within like a couple of months. Like, it only took me 3 or 4 months to be able to do this on like a more regular basis. And then the 3 times that I astral projected while I was overseas was like within the same month, I think. Within the same month and a half. But it was like once I got that initiation right out of the way, it was like free game, you know? Anyway, so the third time I did it, I literally astral projected to my mom, in whatever realm she was in, to my mom. And it was like I was floating down to see her, and I knew it was someone I recognized, and then I heard her say, Terry, I knew you would find me. I knew you would find me. And Terry's like the family name. And I was like, wow, you know, like there's something about your heart and what you really, really desire. And there's something about the entropy and the regeneration that literally takes your cell bodies, your cells, and it's like, it's probably your DNA. It's got to be something with your DNA and your spinal cord. There's something about aligning the chakras. There is something about that literally, that's probably that flipping motion that I feel in like another couple of videos back, where I talk about it feels like whatever truth hits you, it's like it goes down your spinal cord, and it's like in that moment I've literally like reordered my system. Like, maybe that's exactly what I'm feeling, is that when you realize a great truth, you have now turned on like more of your helix DNA. You know how like there's like nucleotides or peptides or whatever. There's like I forget, it's like ACGT, something like that, right? There's 4 of them, and it's like you know, some are turned on, some are turned off. That's what causes like certain diseases or whatever, which are really just frequencies. But maybe that's why genetic engineering is so important. However, I think that there's another way that you can do it, because I feel like I'm literally experiencing it. It's like when you realize a greater truth in the most positive manner possible, you literally unlock that gene. That gene, that configuration itself literally goes like, oh, I remember that. Bling, like a little light bulb, it clicks on, and then this one is now connected to whatever in that helix, that double helix. Maybe it's I mean, who knows? It could be like a 12 staircases. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just a frequency that we just can't see. You never know. I mean, you really never know, because it's a frequency. And like, you turn that one on, and now it's like, now it's lit up. And every single cell body is like, all right, guys, now we're running on this frequency. And who knows? Maybe the people that were inside of that frequency are still here, and maybe those are like the possible dimensions. But now, maybe that dimension that I was just in, but now I'm in another one, maybe they're witnessing me pass away. And maybe that's what they see. And that's what I saw with my mom having like multi-organ, shutdown, failure. That's what I'm witnessing. But she's witnessing maybe what I'm witnessing. Like, she's experiencing something awesome, and I'm experiencing something sorrowful. And that's part of the reason why Kathy Wright came through to the medium and said, don't get caught up in sorrow, because sorrow and being like depressed is not only very uncomfortable sometimes. I'm not saying you can't feel a certain way, but it's like, if you stay in that moment, you're now changing your frequency to accept just that moment. But by like being a moving solution, by like, working out or walking around more often, you're circulating your own water in your system so that it's not stagnant. It's the same thing with like moving your mind pocket, instead of settling and saying, oh yeah, that's the truth. Oh yeah, that's the truth. I mean, don't even take my word for it. It's all about looking at it and saying, well, yeah, there's a duality. However, if there's a duality, that means the two do exist. Just like Schrodinger's cat. Yes, the cat's dead, maybe in one dimension, because it now reordered into another dimension. And whether or not you open the box, it doesn't really matter, because that is science. These elements are popping in and out of existence all the time. And by not keeping up with the Joneses, you know what I mean? By not pushing yourselves, by not doing that, you're like settling, you're settling for just that. I mean, even though I figure out something like the entropy and regeneration, the order, disorder, the turning off and turning on, I mean, we're only seeing one part of it. And even though I realize that part, I know there's more out there. I mean, there's literally so much information out there that I could watch any single video on YouTube and say, not skeptical, not critical, but it's like, all right, that's interesting. Where's the other side of that? Show me the duality and I'll find the middle piece. Because they both exist. They do both exist. Because we witness both. And that's the reason why some people in history probably look the same in this generation and in this generation and this generation. We think they're reptilians. We think they're aliens. And I'm like, it's just because these people had their picture taken. We probably all got people like that. I forget what they're called. There's like an actual name for it, like your mirror look-alike. These are different dimensions. And it's like, yeah, maybe your cellular memory was so strong that you just happen to be remembered and somebody took a picture. But if you really look through all the bowels of history and you could actually see those pictures of every single person, you would realize that you are the same person coming from this location to this location to this location to this location, and nothing ever changed except for you're just aware of it now. It just looks a little different now. I mean, who knows? Maybe it looks just like it does now. It's just the photo couldn't take a picture of all the frequencies like our photos can now. I mean, of course there was color back then, but the black and white photos could only show you black and white. Does that mean the frequencies aren't there? Of course not. And that statement right there literally just blew my own mind. So I think I'm going to stop the video right now. I need to chill out. Alright, thank you for watching.